AITA dad passed away, my wife's response. I, 35M, will make this as brief as possible, but I have to go back a ways to give the full story. About 15 months ago, after nearly 30 years of marriage, my mom cheated on my dad with another man. Let's call this man John. My mom's excuse was my dad's alcohol and drug use. After receiving several concerned warnings from the family, as well as her own realization that she could jeopardize her relationship with her family, my mom told us she was ending her affair with John. Several months later, after the dust had settled and everything was back to normal, my wife and I talked about having a baby. This will be important later. In January of this year, my wife and I went to her home country for a while so we could see her brother get married. On January 16th, my grandma, my dad's mother, passed away. I was in a different time zone, but was checking on my dad to make sure he was doing okay. 2 days later, I got a call from my mom. She told me that my dad was dead. She said he had been sitting in his chair that morning and had been breathing strangely, but she went out on an errand, and when she returned, he wasn't moving. It turns out he accidentally overdosed on morphine. I wanted to fly home and be there for my family, but I didn't want to go alone. My wife and I had told each other that we would not be apart in the near future, as we had spent the first 2 years of our marriage in our respective countries while waiting for the petition for her to come to the U.S. to be approved. I asked her to fly back with me after her brother's wedding. She refused and said that she didn't know when she would be able to see her family again, as she had no plans to visit her home country again anytime soon. So I stayed with her. About 2 weeks later, after we had returned to the U.S., I was feeling a deep sense of loss, confusion, and anger. My dad had only been 58 years old. In my sorrow, I made a dumb mistake. I was mindlessly browsing FB, and on a few random posts on my feed, I saw comments left by attractive women whom I did not know. I clicked their names to get a better look at their profile pictures. Then I hit the back button and went on with my browsing. My wife found out about this. She logged into FB on our tablet and looked through my activity, and she saw that I had looked at these profiles. She blew up at me about it. I ended up apologizing and deactivating my FB account to assure her that I wouldn't be doing it again. Last Friday, I had the day off and visited my mom. She told me, I really want to get a new puppy soon. John said he would give me an $800, $900 puppy for free, so I'm probably going to John's hometown to get the puppy. I had already suppressed the memory of John, and it didn't click whom she was speaking of until she mentioned his hometown. This was the man my mom had cheated on my dad with. I highly doubted their conversations were just about a new puppy. I did not know how to react. I said nothing. At around that same time, my dad's siblings announced that they would be unveiling an inscription on my dad's headstone that Sunday, 3 days ago. They invited me to come along. I politely declined. It made me feel that my dad was nothing more than a memory and an inscription on a stone. The combination of these two things, knowing my mom was talking to the guy she had cheated on my dad with, and hearing about my dad's headstone, threw me for a major loop this weekend. It was as if the wound left from losing my dad 6 months ago, which had not closed up, had been opened even further, and I was feeling the loss acutely all over again. 3 nights ago, my wife and I were watching a movie in the living room. We talked and joked around during the movie. Nothing unusual happened. When the movie ended, my wife went to do some dishes. I looked around, and a massive wave of sorrow about my dad hit me. I decided I would go to bed. I was in bed when my wife came into our room. I could tell that she looked irritated. I asked her, "Are you okay?" Her, "No." Me, "What's wrong?" Her, "How long are you going to be like this?" Me, "My dad died just 6 months ago, and those recent developments have dredged up lots of emotions about him." Her, "Well, it's unfair, because you're depressed. You look lost. Last time you were like this, you were looking at girls on Facebook, and we're not taking advantage of my fertile periods." Me, "I know I could be doing a better job with your fertile periods, but it's not like we haven't done it a few times during your fertile periods the past 2 months, and you call it unfair? It felt pretty unfair for my dad to die so unexpectedly." Me, "I've just thinking about him a lot lately. I wish I could speak to him again. I wish I could see him, hug him." Her, "Well, it's not really like we visited him that often anyway, and it's not like you talk to him that often, so I just don't understand why this is affecting you this way." Me, "What the hell is that supposed to mean? How is that helpful? We talked enough for us. We were happy with the relationship we had. The point is that I will never get to talk to him again." Her, "I guess I just won't focus on us getting pregnant this year. I'll just talk to my family and my cousin back home." Me, "Do what you want." My wife seems to have no awareness of just how insensitive her words were. I don't need her to throw me a pity party or to baby me, but a little compassion, understanding, and support would go a long way. Several weeks back, when we were arguing about something else, I told her, "One day you're going to lose your parents, and I promise that I will not treat you the way that you've treated me. I will support and love you through it, but you won't really understand this loss until you go through it yourself." There is much more to this story, other unkind words my wife has shared since my dad passed, but I'll leave it there for now.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe Reddit Revelations.